Hi, I'm Meshea.
Hi, I'm Peggy.
And we are Hitting the Road in Mississippi. Hello, everyone. This is Meshea with Hitting the Road in Mississippi, and I am here with Miss Hit the Road herself, Peggy. I'm so honored to do this with you.
Yay, Meshea, this is fun. I'm honored to be doing it with Meshea. And our special guest today, my Kyles.
Hello.
We are so glad, girl, that you're doing this with us.
Yeah.
I'm glad music has always drawn me, but drums are, that's my thing. That's what has always drawn me. So
the arts in Mississippi evolved from people wanting to express themselves. And so that makes sense when you look at a painting, you see what the artist is expressing. When you read a book, whenever a songwriter writes a song or a singer picks a song to sing. But what is a percussionist expressing? What is it about rhythm that you would say is expression?
For me personally, I can just remember the first time that I picked up like drumsticks to play a drum set. It was like it just came out. And I think the expression part of it was, or is, I'm pretty much an introvert. I've just learned how to be an extrovert, like kind of
right.
But since I was a child and I didn't really like know how to communicate different things, or I just kind of used to be to myself. Drums was just, it always felt natural, and it always felt like it just would come out when I would sit down and play. So I think that's the expression part for me. Now what I'm expressing, it depends on the day. It depends on the
That's
day.
That's a good answer.
Like sometimes if I'm in my own practice, then I could be expressing anger or frustration. As a matter of fact, I remember quite vividly when we came back from that France trip. I was that was a bad spot. That was a pretty bad spot. And I remember I was at home practicing, and I was playing like really hard, and I just stopped and I started crying. I was like, I am very frustrated. So so it's music is very much
it's release.
Yeah, it's a release for me. It's a spiritual thing. Right. And when I play like out, I always try to play from a pure space, or the love and all that kind of thing. So that's the expression.
Now I see ladies sitting back there. All of this stuff going on up in here, and ain't nobody moving nothing. I don't understand. They must be scientists trying to solve the world's problems and stuff. But it ain't like that. I got to do something. And we have my little sister on drums. Yeah. How about it for my opinion, y'all? Yeah. How about it? Come on. Give my little sister a round on. Let's see what she can do. All right. Bye.
Say then that, if I'm hearing you correctly, there were words and things that you wanted to vocalize, that you were an introvert and you didn't, and you were a child and you didn't, so you beat the daylights out of something rhythmatically. and expressed it that way.
Mhm.
And that turned into what you do now. And now, whenever you're performing, if I hear you correctly, when you're performing, you go to a place of center, so your performance always comes from a place of love. But when you're practicing, you still let yourself go to wherever you need to release whatever you need to.
That is specifically it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You
That
did
is
it.
that is great.
Yeah,
That is great.
So,
That's
so, is there pressure on you kind of being the sort of in charge of the band? I mean, I see the drummer as sort of being in charge of the band. You're the one that sets the tone. You set the beat. I mean, am I misreading that or?
No, I know it definitely used to be some pressure, and you know why there used to be pressure. But at some point, once I got used to it, and especially if I have a good bass player with me,
yes.
that makes it that much easier. So it's not so much. It's not like, oh my God, I'm driving the ship. Now I'm like, kind of cruising.
That's cool. And you have a good partner bass player in Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Y'all
That's
seem
my
to
brother.
be like,
That's
brother
my
and
brother.
sister.
Yeah. Yep. I love being.
Oh, yeah, I love Ben too. And y'all been playing together now how many years? Because you started out with Jericho.
Oh man, I have to count now. What is it's been like 10 years.
It's been like 10
Wow,
years.
I gotta call Ben and
a
tell
10-year-old
him.
brother.
Yeah.
So you should probably elaborate and tell everyone who Ben is,
So Ben Sterling, sometimes known as Ben Strings.
which is hilarious to me because I think of bending the strings. Because
Ah.
I'm a guitar player, so I'm bending strings when you say that. Yeah.
So Ben is my dear friend. He started out. I don't know if people know this, but Jerichus was actually the person that taught Ben to play the bass, because they had both learned guitar from their grandfather. And so at some point, Jerichus teaches Ben how to play bass, and Jerichus hires him, to be in his band, and they go from there. But they've, since parted ways, and Ben has just like he's just taking off. He's doing his own artistry now. Yeah, Ben has catapulted. He's into his own artistry, and we work together now with Jamel. Like I said, we usually end up traveling down to the Gulf Coast area, or just wherever. And that's my guy.
Floribama?
Yeah.
Floribama.
Actually, we play there next month. I think they're
Okay.
the season is starting.
Cool.
So,
Is there one particular genre that you like playing the most, or are you kind of into all of them? You seem like, from watching you, that you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw you play jazz a couple of weeks ago. It's like, whoa.
Yes. It's a love
You-
going to hear him play
I
jazz.
know,
Yes.
because I had not seen you do that before. Is there one genre that you like better than the other?
I think as I have grown as a musician, I've just come to, for one, I've always loved music. Like my mom kind of instilled that in me, because my mom listens to a myriad of things. Well, let me rephrase it. My mom listens to a lot of maybe like different Black artists, if that makes sense. So there was a lot of soul music. There was a lot of R&B. There was a lot of gospel.
Right.
I got that whole experience, and my grandmother was the person that kind of introduced me to jazz. And when I got in middle school, I started listening to Prince heavy. But then Prince, that was, if I could call him a gateway drug to other music, that's when I started listening to rock and roll and Aerosmith and just all this stuff. So I don't know that I have a favorite. Maybe funk, if I had to just choose. I really enjoy funk just because it's gritty and it's hard. But I do love jazz. I do love jazz. It's a beautiful art form, and really to me, blues and jazz they do this. I think some people try to separate them, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's it's a very thin line. It's a very thin line.
That leads to a great dilemma I have.
Okay.
Because when I first came to Mississippi, my background blues was not such a mystery. You know, there was country, there was blues. Blues had a sound that wasn't that different. It was different, but not that different. I got to Mississippi, and everyone made blues out to be so vastly different. So I went to hear a blues artist, and I'm like, well, that doesn't sound anything like what I think blues is, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I heard another blues artist, and nothing alike. But I was told, no, that's blues. And then another blues artist, no, that's blues. And so it's like, and we have the 5 different areas of the state, and no, this is one type of blues, that's one type of blues. And then you have very strict definitions of blues. And so it's very confusing to me what blues is, to be honest.
Okay.
And I read books about it. And I talk to people about it. And I understand there is the origin of blues and wanting to keep the blues pure, so we don't lose what the origin of it was, and that I totally respect that and understand it. But I also feel like all things evolve. So when you say that you see them as together, maybe elaborate a bit on how you see just blues. What do you think of when somebody says blues?
Before I started playing blues, I didn't know what it was because my parents didn't really listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got around like my aunt and my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
They love blues. They more so love like Southern soul, which I think is different from blues. And,
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Yeah.
Right.
I may be a blues purist in that fashion, but I also am a bit unlearned when it comes to Southern soul, so I can't really speak on it, but I do see it as different from blues.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear now people talk about blues, or when I think about blues, I kind of see it as it is an art form, and I think much like languages or dialects, there are they're like, we're in Jackson, so people may speak a certain way. But if you go to Virginia, people speak a certain way, or New York, and I think that different types of blues are kind of like that.
That is a great way of putting it. I'm going to borrow that. I'm going to say, what blues dialect is this? And I'm going to say, and my college taught me that.
Oh, thanks.
Because that is the best explanation I've heard of it yet.
A great explanation.
That is the best one,
I
yeah.
usually say different flavors, but dialects absolutely is more descriptive.
Right,
Yeah.
and it explains how it became that way, and
Right.
that's I like that.
Right.
That's you should like copyright that, trademark it. I mean that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Now give me $5.
I'm like playing for, we brought his name up several times, but playing for Jerikas, there were a lot of blues purists. When he started coming out and being popular on the scene, and they were going, I don't know that that's really blues.
Well, did I cut you off?
No.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
I believe Jerikas is of a different generation.
Exactly.
So I thought that he did a beautiful job of preserving, but also adding, which I think that it's all about that. It's keeping true to it, but also adding your own thing.
Exactly.
Much like Bobby Rush did. People laughed at him literally when he said, "I'm gonna put funk in my blues," and now like
they love it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. I think we can't contain anything and say it can't evolve or it's going to go away.
Right. It's got to
So,
grow.
It has to grow, and so I think it's wonderful to honor and respect the origin of all things. But to say that, but it can't change, it can't evolve at all, you're damning it to death when you do that. So I love how you're explaining it, and I think there's absolutely room for both, and both are necessary. So I love.
You had an opportunity to speak to funk with anybody?
So the thing I love about
The laugh. Okay, there's a story here. There is a story here,
the
folks.
thing I love about playing with Jamel is that we play so many things, so many, and it's not even purposely. And even with Jerikas, there were certain points where it just was like it's just funky.
Right.
It's just
right.
funky. And actually, I did have a chance to go out with Mr. Bobby Rush once. I was filling in for Bruce.
Oh,
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really
Oh,
cool. It
yeah.
was really cool. That was a time.
That was funky.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think I just always come across funk. And Ben is a funk head for real. Like I like all sorts of music. Ben does too, but I think his main thing is like hard driving funk. Like it has to have that groove factor, you know, the thing that makes your face twist.
And the thing that makes him dance on the stage.
Oh,
when he's
yeah,
playing it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Brother Happy Feet.
Brother Happy
That's
Feet.
right. Mississippi, birthplace of America's music.
Yes.
And that is the slogan that's on the signs when you come in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be on the car tags, not on there anymore, regrettably.
Oh.
And I know you've seen that slogan. What kind of response do you have to that about Mississippi being the birthplace of America's music? Does that resonate with you? Does it?
It when I was younger, I don't think I really understood it. But as I've gotten older and I've got to experience, you know, people like Bobby Rush, who just have laid major groundwork, like the literal foundation of it. I think that's a really big thing, you know, for one region to be able to have impacted an entire, well, we'll say America first, and then the rest of the world.
And the whole world.
The world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge thing, and it's a bit humbling for me to think about even just how I started and the influence that I didn't even know that slogan would have on my career now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a humbling thing to me.
Wow. Really? That's interesting.
And I think when you and I were hitting the road in the van together out of Mississippi, I noticed, and there's so much respect in other states, but of course other countries, so much respect for Mississippi artists. It's like, oh, they're going to bring the real thing,
Yeah.
whatever the real thing is.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like that in other places, Mississippi artists are really revered for playing the real thing.
Yeah.
What that real thing is. So yeah, and we can say that country music started in Mississippi, rock and roll started in Mississippi,
All of it.
blues all over the whole state. So that's why we get to claim that we're the birthplace of America's music. But based on that, it seems like there might be some things that could be better. What would you think? What would you like to see be better for Mississippi artists? How could being a professional musician? I know that's a really
We got
big
5
one.
days.
Yeah, well, however many you want to take.
Let's see. I would definitely like to see more opportunities in the state, as opposed to musicians having to essentially relocate.
Wow.
Like you mean like relocate out of the state?
Yeah, relocate out of
Gotcha.
the state.
Okay.
It would be great. Now anybody can, you know, do what they want, move how they want. But I know a lot of people have had to like sit down and say, I have to move because there just are not many opportunities here.
Right.
And thankfully now we're kind of in an age where you can be anywhere and, you know, get you know, any opportunity. But I just wish we had more opportunities here. That's a start. Yeah, that's the only way I can kind of think of right now.
When you
That's
say
a good start.
opportunities, do you mean like more performance venues, or do you mean outside of just performing, or what exactly do you mean?
Definitely performing, because I think if we had more performing opportunities, that would open up other opportunities for, you know, let's say booking, or let's say people who do production companies.
Okay.
Yeah, that would open up the whole kind of thing.
All entertainment aspects if there were more performance venues. Okay. But it does seem for I have to say, for a place that we do have so much music, it seems, yet at times I have people contact me and say, where can I hear live music tonight? And I'm like, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Same. It's been that way for me these days.
Yeah, it's like, where can we hear live music tonight? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And so that, I understand that. That does seem like that doesn't seem to go together. That seems off. So traveling across Mississippi, does that seem like a statewide thing to you? I mean, hitting the road, if you hit the road in Mississippi, can you, or do you have to go outside of the state truly? Is there more up in the Delta, or is it really a statewide issue, you feel like?
Well, I will be honest. Since I've started playing professionally, only, I'd say 35%, if I had to like give a number of any sort of shows that I've done have been in Mississippi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow. Yeah, we definitely would love to see that change.
Yeah.
I know. Speaking of that, what? Name all the countries you've been to. Didn't you go somewhere with Vasti?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Africa?
Yeah, so Vasti Jackson works with Playing for Change. And Playing for Change, I believe is based in California. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, so he works with them, and they have music schools across like the world. And the one that we went to, I'm terrible, I forget the name, but the one that we did was in Morocco.
Oh yeah.
So it was it was an exchange. It was an exchange. So we went there to learn about the Saharan blues, and we also went there to share our experience with American blues. And at the end of the week, we stayed out in the desert in tents, which was it was cool. It was cool until we got to the performance date. So there was like a week of like going back and forth, workshops and things of that nature. And at the end, there was this big concert that happened, and a sandstorm came through.
Oh, wow.
I was terrified.
I bet.
But like I cried and everything. But
You got cried and everything.
I did.
You were such a girl.
I am. I'm a crier. I'm gonna do nothing else. I'm a crier. So
I'm not used to saying.
I mean, it was terrible. Like you could put things over your eyes, and the sand was so fine that it would just.
Oh, that would be.
beyond.
Oh, that would be awful. Yes, that would be.
But now that I think back on it, it was it was interesting. But I got to meet this lady named Yes, I think it's Oum or OM.
Okay.
Don't quote me there. But I got to meet her, and she's almost like the Beyonce of the Saharan blues. And she was just walking around like really cool. Like she had a juice stand, and it was really cool because she was like one of the people. But then like seeing her perform was like oh
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a really cool experience.
So she had the dual life then. She was she worked like with the people, but then she would leave the stand and just go up, and she was a major.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the respect that she got from like the younger musicians, it was really cool to just watch. It was really cool to watch. But the concert did kind of happen, but we didn't get to
Sand and all.
Yeah, like once everything kind of settled down, it was still like the wind was still blowing and there was still sand in the air, but it just wasn't as bad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, there's a song in there for sure. The wind was still blowing, the sand was still in the air.
My.
But the
like
show had to go on.
Yeah, it did.
There's a song there, girl.
Now, you went somewhere with Nellie Mack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, actually, that wasn't the first trip I had gone out of the country. Where did we go? We went to Norway.
Ooh.
And actually what that was, Rolf Matheson, he is
I guess he's a promoter.
so
Yeah.
he's a promoter.
He's a blues aficionado.
He
but
is.
Yeah,
He
and I
is.
think he's
And
my
sweet
promoter.
dude.
Yeah.
And sweet dude.
Yeah.
So he hired myself, Nellie Mack, and Eden Brent, which Eden Brent was like the headliner, like the the person that was the group, and we were the sort of rhythm section behind her.
Right.
That was a really cool trip. I enjoyed Norway. The only thing I didn't like was how soon it got dark.
Yes.
Like 12 o'clock, it's
Yes.
dark.
Yes.
It was not good for my depression.
12 o'clock at lunch?
Yeah.
Yuck.
Like the
That's
sun
worse.
started going down. But apparently in the summer, the sun just kind of does this dip thing. It doesn't really go down. I would be crazy if I lived
Depressed.
over there.
I know, right?
It would be so bad. But yeah, that was a really good experience. We went it was like November when we went, and I got to meet people who were doing the blues there. And actually, a good friend of mine, England Brooks, she had gotten married to a man who lived in Norway. She was from California. She got married to a man who lived in Norway. They divorced, and she's just been living her best life over in Norway, singing.
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah, homegirl
Wow.
does it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So you
Yeah.
did one show in Norway?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had that one
I
show.
couldn't remember if that
Yeah.
was.
Cool.
So the first place you went out of country was
Canada.
Canada. Okay,
Yeah.
then.
We did
Yeah.
Mont Tremblant.
That's right.
Yep. That was a time.
Wow. That was with Jerichas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a really cool place, I hear.
Yeah, that was. I have to put that in the top 5.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they had this pastry thing. It was like a fried dough, and it was kind of shaped like a pita bread, but it had like Nutella on it. I could go for one of those right here.
That sounds so good.
Don't you love how it's we talk about different places and top 5, and it was because of the food.
Yeah, right.
Always the
Associated
food.
with the
Always the
food.
food. People are people are people. People will be the same.
Right.
I think anywhere you go. But,
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, I think people come to Mississippi for the music, the other art forms, and the food.
Mhm.
You know, I think because we've talked to people and they're like, the people in Mississippi can tell you where to go to eat. Well, yes,
Right.
because people come here for the food too. So
And
That's
when
why
we
we
went to
came.
Maine, we had lobster.
Yeah. I remember that lobster roll. It was good.
Oh, it was just right out of the water. Yeah, it was yeah.
yeah,
Now, in Maine for the festival, the green room was right by the water, and it was just a bunch of tents, and you go back there and you can have a whole lobster to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, it was to die for.
Mr. Sip was at that festival.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it. Well, I can say that I am also branching out and exploring my own artistry.
Mhm.
I started writing kind of in 2017, and so now I'm starting to kind of share those things. I'm working on a plan to start recording within the next couple of months. I've
As a
done
vocalist.
yeah, as a vocalist.
Yeah.
As a vocalist.
Mhm.
So I've done a few shows. I did a few shows last year. So just kind of continuing that. That's a new thing for me because a lot of people nobody is used to seeing me not behind the drums, even myself. So, but it's fun to just kind of open the gift box up and see what else is in there. How can I continue to stay relevant and continue to grow in my own musicianship? And, so I'm excited about that.
I saw you on a YouTube video, or no, Facebook video that Chris Gill posted.
Yeah,
You were singing with him.
yeah. So my grandmother, I love her so much. My Mimi, she'll come to my shows and she will pull out her phone and she'll go on Facebook Live. And so I was filling in for Forrest Gordon
Yeah.
with Chris Gill and the House Shakers this past Sunday at the Pelican
Soul
Cove.
Shakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's this guy named Doug. Doug is a sweetheart. He's like, you gonna sing. And Doug he was almost getting on my nerves. I was like, Doug, for you, I will sing. So I did a couple of songs, and that's what came out.
Cool.
And so one day you'll be like Forrest, singing and playing at the same time.
Yeah, I've got to practice it more.
I would
hard.
imagine.
It's difficult to play a rhythm instrument and
I would think that would be real difficult.
Mm-hmm. And especially because drummers are already using their entire bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he does it really well.
Oh, he does.
Forrest,
He
yeah.
does. He's the master.
Wow, well, that's cool. Now, you are teaching lessons? Is that what you do in the daytime some? Or you were?
Not right now.
Okay.
Not right now.
Okay.
This has been a defining period for me. So I've kind of been at the drawing board, and we'll see what comes out.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Now, when you pick up the guitar, I'm going to just fall out and faint.
Well, I actually play a little bit.
I knew you were going to say that.
Peggy!
I knew you would say that.
I play a little bit.
Wow.
Not to me, not enough to like be out and about.
Oh.
But it's something I enjoy when I'm at home.
What about the bass?
You know.
Oh, you've been trying that too. Oh,
I would think I would think you'd hear the bass just so
No,
clearly.
absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah.
clearly that it would be
I can hum a bass line like a bass player, but
right.
getting my fingers to do it that takes a lot of work.
That's
so,
more right. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever master either of those, but
So you're getting into your putting your own writing out there, recording, singing. Of course, you're still a percussionist and dabbling with other instruments. Do you have like this long-term vision of where Maya Kyles is going to be, say, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or do you just kind of are you just kind of winging it that far ahead? If we're looking that far, are you just kind of letting that just kind of go?
I am a person who can be a bit of a wildflower.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, I will, have my own artistry somewhat flourishing. And hopefully I'll still be playing drums because sometimes I'm not bored with it, but I'm also looking to do other things while I'm still drumming. So hopefully, I'll still be doing it. But if I'm doing something else, I'm okay with that also.
Well, it always makes me smile to walk into some place and look over and I hear drums and I look over and there's Maya behind the drums. Always makes me smile. I'm like, I'm in the right place.
I hope so.
Yeah, I always feel that way. Thank you very much, Maya. We really enjoyed having you.
I've enjoyed being here.
Good. Thank you so much for hitting the road with us or talking about hitting the road in Mississippi with us.
And out.
Yeah, and
out of
and
Mississippi.
beyond.
And beyond, that's
Mississippi.
right. Taking
Absolutely.
Mississippi other
Mississippi
places.
and beyond.
Yeah.
Yes, and being so frank with your discussion about it too. We
Yeah.
appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for doing this.
Oh, yeah, we're happy to. So you all, that's Maya Kyles telling us all about her experience as a percussionist here in Mississippi. And until next time, thank you all for hitting the road in Mississippi. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for joining us. We'd love to hear any ideas you might have about what we're doing or any suggestions about where we might go or someone we might interview.
As we are hitting the road in Mississippi.